Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Here with Brandon again. Want to do a cool little series of videos here. We're going to do a few short ones. Obviously, they'll come out in segments. We've got a ton of topics that people have, left below, commented on some of the videos, messaged us directly, things like that. So, gonna go over a few. But first things first, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, good. TGIF or whatever it is.
There it
Friday.
is.
So things are good. No complaints, but
Have to complain about a Friday.
exactly. Well, here, so what goes into an acquisition or partnership? What do you look for? I know, this question came shortly after, of course, you mentioned, you're always looking at potential, M&A opportunities, of course.
Yeah.
So curious, what do you look for? What needs to be in your eyes, a good opportunity for M&A?
Yeah. So I think kind of, looking at it, what is the end goal, right? The end goal is to create value, right? And so for us, that's the primary focus, right? Now, for us, there's also a lot of different ways to create value, right? Knowing that we have our vertical integration, knowing that we have our manufacturing process in house, it's given us the platform to be able to manufacture not only our brands, but other brands in a very cost effective and profitable way, right? And so as we look at acquisitions, there's a lot of things that we can kind of look at that ultimately is going to make us and create value for us down the road. The first is, okay, if we're looking at a brand, does that brand have awareness in the market, right? Is it recognizable? Do people enjoy the products, right? The beauty there is that a lot of times what holds back brands is kind of the financial aspect, right? Their unit economics. I know that we can manufacture our own products. I know that we are vertically integrated. So a great brand that may not necessarily be profitable or may not necessarily have great gross margins, those are ideal acquisitions for us because we can kind of bring everything in house, right? So that's one example of a type of transaction where we're looking at a brand that makes a lot of sense, right? I think other types of transactions or acquisitions that make a lot of sense, things like helping our supply chain, right? Let's say that we need more cultivation, right? We've acquired a bunch of brands now. There's more and more of an increased demand for raw inputs, whether that be premium indoor, whether that be greenhouse, whether that be outdoor. So all of a sudden now cultivation acquisitions become very interesting because again, they can add value to the end goal, right? That's kind of really what we're about is what on a post transaction level is there value created. And so acquisitions that add to our supply chain, those types of things become very interesting. And then I think one of the kind of the last things that we look at that kind of makes acquisitions or makes opportunities interesting is what is the talent in the team that we're acquiring, right? I think sometimes you may not have a great brand, but maybe you have some tremendous talent, right? Maybe they're great marketers, maybe they're great product guys. And so acquisitions where we can bring that team into the fold also becomes very interesting, right? Knowing that we have a portfolio, not only post transaction can they work on the business or the brand that they were working on prior, but now they can kind of help add value to the overall portfolio as a whole. So again, I think there's a lot of different companies that we can extract value from, right? Sometimes it's just the brand, knowing that we can bring the manufacturing in house. Sometimes it's, hey, this adds to our overall supply chain because we have that demand in house. And then other times it's, hey, we really love the team and we really love working with them and we think they can add great value to our overall portfolio. So unfortunately, it's not a one
Apples to apples company, yeah.
exactly, but we look at a lot of different factors and all again with the goal of kind of creating that value post transaction.
Yeah, no, awesome. I think you did a fantastic job kind of clarifying, hey, there's lots of different cannabis companies, but they're different strengths, I guess, as you go. And what you guys are doing might benefit a certain company more than another. So very interesting. Would you say you're preferred looking for brands that aren't vertically integrated and trying to, of course, bring them under, the Icanic kind of structure? Or would I be stretching too much there?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great observation, right? I think that in many ways there is very little friction when it comes to that, right? And we've talked to a lot of brands that, again, they aren't vertically integrated, they don't do their own manufacturing, but yet they have a great brand in the marketplace, right? And so those things like that, become the perfect kind of, we call them tuck-in acquisitions because there is no friction, right? We don't have duplication of manufacturing, we don't have duplication of vertical integration and whatnot, right? So I think day one, those types of brands fit very well into our ecosystem, knowing that we can kind of basically plug all the points that they're kind of weak in.
Yeah, cool. Well, anything else? I guess this was acquisition standpoint. Also got questions about partnerships. I know a little different, but anything you want to talk on? Obviously partnership a little different. Lots of different partnerships that can be made. Do you want to just shed some light on kind of from a partnership standpoint what there might be available?
Yeah, I think certainly one of the things that maybe we touched on prior was, for us, white label and contract manufacturing is also a big part of our business, right? We have the infrastructure, the technology, the ecosystem, and so to the extent that we can also help and manufacture for other brands, even as a starting point, that is very interesting for us, right? And it's part of our kind of long-term vision of, leveraging our resources that we've invested in and kind of creating that maximum capacity, right? And so that's one way that we partner. We also know that, listen, at the end of the day, there is to a certain degree, kind of a walk before you run, right? And so in some ways, we partner with companies, whether that be on the manufacturing side, whether that be on the brand support, the sales support, whatever it is, we partner with them as a way to kind of walk, knowing that we want to get to an acquisition down the road, right? And I think for both parties, it's a great kind of first step, right? So using the idea of a partnership on some level as a way to kind of better get to know the company that you're looking at and vice versa, having them better get to know us. It's a great kind of first step, knowing that we don't just have to acquire day one, that there's maybe this baby step of a partnership on some level that can kind of help get everyone comfortable.
Yeah, kind of. I'm sure this speaks to your kind of investment background as well. It's funny, of course, big companies do this very commonly as a way to reduce their risk. So it makes a lot of sense. You'd rather pay a few extra bucks, but know that the risk isn't there after you help them grow. So awesome. I think a fantastic answer. Anything else, acquisition partnership you want to touch on before we move on?
Yeah, no, I think, again, I think in many ways you'll see a lot of that from us, right? Again, 2020 was a year for us to really build our foundation, right? Really get the pieces in place to allow us to look at all sorts of acquisitions, right? And now that we have that foundation in place, we think that 2021 is going to be a big year for growth for us.
Brandon, thank you. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Anything else you want to leave people with?
Yeah, no, this was great. Again, I think feel free to ask questions, and I'm happy to always jump on and kind of provide insights, whether it be about our company or the industry as a whole. Happy to serve as a resource.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thanks so much. Enjoy your weekend. We'll chat again soon.
Sounds great.